Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, this nightly March the 30th, 2025, daily cryptocurrency and XRP blockchain technology, along with the gold and silver bullion updates. I ask you to bell notification, comment down below, like the channel, and share to help us continue to grow, which we are rapidly growing our voice, growing our influence, growing our information to bring back truth, trust, integrity, along with the education, the facts, and information that you need to make, yes, for you, an educated and an informed decision on your trading and long-term holds and your investing sentiment, right? We are not financial advisors. We just look to bring back trust and truth and education and information, most importantly, back into the crypto sphere with you, the growing audience, the growing community that we are building from the ground up and is rapidly expanding now, to help you not be emotionally pried and preyed on by these infiltrators and criminal gangsters, influencers, and insiders on the mainstream and social media, right? And if we start out, and remember, tomorrow is Commodity Mondays, so we'll look at the gold and silver chart along with the mining stocks every Monday. That one video or multiple videos that we make will primarily focus on that on Mondays with our normal crypto updates. But Commodity Mondays, we like to look at the commodity markets, as I am a heavy investor in the commodity stocks, and we like to follow those, right? If we look at what's in the Bitcoin news, there was something here. Bitcoin bottom likely 80K, opening the door for TON, CRO, MNT, and Render to rally. Old Vincenzo thinks the first short-term bottom is $74,000, followed by a much deeper bottom as we head towards the later spring. Let's see what this guy's saying. Bitcoin bulls are trying to start a recovery, but selling at a higher level continues to disarm any attack on the range high. Peter Brandit said on the post, Bitcoin has broken down from a bear wedge pattern, gives it a target objective of 65,635. And notice, this is one of the first articles now catching on to what old Vincenzo has been promoting here, that we are in a head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. And we'll get right back to that. A head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern in the short to medium range. And we've been harping on this for 2 months now. And this is the first mover advantage in the power of Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. And when you're asking yourself, is it worth $3.99? Well, the value is right here. Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing was on top of this way back here, where we made 3 bold calls right here. When we were coming back up here, when we were coming up to the all-time high, we said we were going to have a bearish cross of the 50 short-term moving average to be south or underneath the 200-day, which would line up with our short to medium-term bearish trend, right? Then when we put this high in, we identified on the way up that if we get a neckline here and a rejection, you would go from the bottom to overhead resistance to the point of a breakout at that neckline to the downside. Right here, you see that? And that gets you down there to, I actually drew the arrow again, top to the neckline that formed there, right? To the point of a breakout. And that got you to our 74,070 and 91 cents. Way back there, we identified this back in mid-January, right? The first, about January 9th to January 15th, we were diagnosing and sniffing this out, giving you the first mover and the value that you're looking for on the 399 Jabroni Killer, best value bang for its buck for what you get out there. And nobody was on top of that. They all thought it was still going to go run straight up to the next target of 122,000. But we were saying and drew out this pattern. We had the go first breakdown, that double top or M topping reversal pattern that forms a mountain double top. And we identified just before then this potential head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern that would take place, where we had the 74,000 was our first target. Then we made that call. So there's call number 2 right here. And then we drew out that this was a head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern that would be in the short to medium term or the next 3 to 6 months. And you can see now we're trading down on the right shoulder, and we're about to come to the midway point of the right shoulder because we have a neckline down here of $58,000, and that would be call number 3. Call number 1, actually call number 4. Call number 1 was we were going to have a bearish cross, and you can see 2.5 months later we have now had the bearish cross where the 50 is well underneath the 100-day moving average. And then we also said during the mid part of this, when we were making that call, that we were going to have a golden bearish cross like we've seen in XLM and a lot of the other altcoins, where that 50 is going to get below the 200-day, which currently it is sitting at 85,000 and change, and we're on our way there, right? So our first call was the mountain double top, along with the second call at the same time. We were going to have a bearish cross with the 50 underneath the 200. Third, we were going to come down to 74,000 and have a slight bounce. Fourth, we were coming down to the 58,903 because the overall thesis is we're in a head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. And the biggest call that we've made when we were at $100,000 was we have a swing low of $32,366.05 because we're in this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. Thus, now you're seeing the mainstream, like I tell you, the social media influencers and the mainstream media don't give you the first mover advantage. They start picking up, like now these articles from Cointelegraph catch on late. And the first mover is old Vincenzo, and we break it down to you straight. And now this guy's saying on March the 30th, a target objective of 65,635. Old Vincenzo knows, and he's been telling you guys this market low is going to be near that 33,000 technical move out of this head and shoulders. But these guys will catch on, just like they're starting to catch on now to the downtrend. They're starting to give you lower targets. This current macroeconomic environment and fears of a prolonged trade war have created a 40% possibility of a recession in 2025. Now, if we do have a recession this year, crypto would get beat down 70 to 90%. And it would be perfect timing after a massive bull run, and that would ensure old Vincenzo's prediction comes true. But you can see the mainstream catching on now. However, not everyone is bearish on Bitcoin in the near term. Analyst Stock Money Lizard said, because he's a lizard, because he's a snake, he's a shyster, he's manipulating you and giving you news too late and riding you all the way down. By the time he tells you things are looking very, very bad, you're already down and lost your first mover advantage on bad decision making by reading his post, in my opinion. Could be between 82 and 80,000. We've already slipped past 80,000 on some wick lows, so that's already wrong. The analyst anticipates Bitcoin to make a reversal next week. If Bitcoin starts a recovery, select altcoins are likely to move higher. Let's look at the chart. So you can see this guy starting to hedge himself with some lower targets, but that's not a big call to make when the price is at $82,000 and we've had swing lows lower than that. But this is what you get with old Vincenzo. You get the power of the first mover advantage based on integrity, trust, and truth without an objective, without me having to sell you anything or being bought and paid for by the infiltrators and criminal gangsters that manipulate the most manipulated market out there, the cryptocurrency market, right? And that's the value. And that's why we have, come here, the program director, of course, is talking now because we're live. But that's the value of the members of Jabroni Killers. And if you want to become a member of Jabroni Killer, and if you think this is the best value, you can simply come to the analytics. And I'm not trying to get rich off of it, as I've made it the cheapest and best value out there. You go to our content, right? Or you can go to our homepage. And this would bring you in what the homepage is, or should look like. Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. Most importantly, subscribe, hit a thumbs up, and hit that join button to become members of Jabroni Killers. Is that join button, or in every video description or the pinned comment. It's not showing it here. I got to put it in there. I must have forgot. It is always in the video description or the pinned comment to join Jabroni Killer with links. But we're growing this movement, we're growing this information, and we're growing this trust. Another thing old Vincenzo's been harping on, and we're getting closer and closer to this inevitable breakdown. Again, the value, if you're asking yourself why you should join or why you should stay, and support the channel for $3.99 a month. We're trying to grow this and expand our reach, is because, again, we gave you the first mover advantage back here. After we hit that 340 high in mid-January again, we were telling you we were likely topping out in the short to medium term, and we identified and drew this pattern out. In any video since mid-January, every video that I show XRP has this head and shoulders in the same spot, because it's the same drawing that we never took down. And you can see it's actually traded longer than we expected, so it traded out of our drawing, but it is still in this same pattern, trading and fulfilling the right shoulder. And we let you know that we were coming down. We would have a bearish cross and eventually a golden bearish cross, but this is one of the last coins to have a bearish cross. But you can see it's inevitable. It's almost there now, and this will be yet again another forecast that Vincenzo made in an unpopular way, way back here, where we have that drawn out, way out ahead of the field. And now you're seeing the mainstream media and the major influencers in crypto on social media starting to warn and starting to hedge themselves in their videos by saying, maybe $1.80 to $2 is possible. Maybe $1.25, maybe $1.40, 50, or 60. They're trying to hedge themselves, but it's too late. The price is down. It's become apparent now. Any random Joe could see that. So what's the value in that? If you could look at a chart and see it for yourself, the value is the first mover. The value is the education and trust, because the truth and trust in there. And the value is a channel and Jabroni Killer members and Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing, is we identified it right there in that circle. And everybody still, when it was consolidating like that, thought the better odds and the most likely scenario was that to break out and go to $4, $5, $6. And we were telling you, nope. We drew this pattern out. We identified a major resistance support level for the short term, meaning the weekly trades at 255. We identified the neckline from what we had going on here on the left shoulder that we were speculating, where you hit this area multiple times before you broke up, because that was a neckline. Then on the way down, we had a wick below it, but right on that neckline again. And we said we are in the right. That just confirmed this is a head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. And again, the value showed up as the mainstream and social media influencers right here were catching on and starting to draw this pattern out 2 months too late, because they misidentified it the first time. They misidentified the news, the false signal that news on a manipulated pump based on releasing that news of the Donald Trump crypto reserve on a Sunday morning about 4 or 5 Eastern to maximize a pump, because all the retail would pump in the same 30-minute time frame, and it artificially pumped it 40%. Those same influencers bought that because they're paid to promote that was the end of the bear cycle. The next leg to this, what they're calling it, Super Bull cycle, was about to take place, and XRP was going to break $4 imminent, $5 imminent, right? And the consolidation to the downside was over. And Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing, again, with that trust and truth. You guys came here to hear my opinion on it, and we didn't change anything that we were saying. The $3.01, like we were talking about all back here, was the top end potential of this right shoulder where it could pump up to, and it quickly got rejected, and within 24 hours gave back 100% of the news. And old Vincenzo tried to calm your nerves with the information and trust, saying the pattern is still such, we don't want to buy you. The pattern was still validated, and the pattern was in full effect, and this was a false, manipulated influencer, influenced and executed by the criminal gangsters that manipulate this market to pump that news out on that day. We told you before, months before any of that news came out, that look where the left shoulder rallied to. That was in and around the high that we thought we could go in on a right shoulder pump. And we also aligned it up with this major underneath support that formed besides the wick downs, but where it traded along during the top of the head being formed, that was as high as you would go, and it came and hit it exactly. That line's been up there since way back here, right? That's when that went up there, and it got hit exactly. So we knew what was going on. The same thing as we knew when, again, the paid influencers and the shysters out there thought with the Federal Reserve coupled with the SEC saying the Ripple case is officially closed, they bought that and put that on their videos that next hour and the next day and 2 days, as long as they could ride that news wave for views and clicks and to manipulate and confuse their audience that the bull run was over again. And we kept telling you, nope, we're going to trade back down to the neckline. The next time we come down and break the neckline, we're coming to $1.93 on the 200-day moving average. And then we could have a small bounce, but then eventually we are going to, in the next month or two, have that technical breakdown and hit that technical target of $1.29, right? And that's the power and the value of Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. And another one that we've been on top of and we've done a very good job on, and again gave you the first mover advantage. And all of my listeners and followers and Jabroni Killer members that were watching back here right after we hit that 63-cent high, about the last couple of days in November and the first week or two of December, I was really harping on I am short to medium term, and I emphasized it for about 3 straight weeks, short to medium term bearish. And I said we would not take out this old high all the way up this ladder right here. And I kept harping on it so you guys would know, you wouldn't be surprised. And we were giving it to you first with the first mover advantage. And then right when we made this dump right here, when we dumped right here, this is when everybody started catching on of a slight retracement, they started calling it. Right in here, they were saying slight retracement. And old Vincenzo was already telling you in this, we were going to have a bearish cross way back then. This was one of the first ones I started doing it on. We were going to come back down to the 200-day moving average, starting with the 50, then the 100, then the 200, along with the bearish cross. We called that way back then. And we had the 200-day moving average at the time was slowly moving up, but down here at about 28 cents. Nobody thought that could be possible. Then we identified a major downside of 18 and 14 when the price was still way up here, coming off its high, but in the turtle conveyor belt look right there. And we told you those are, that almost looks like a big FU right there they drew out. And like I told you, those are bearish patterns. And the rest of the mainstream and the social media especially started to catch on there and started changing the narrative in their videos slowly. But every time it had a slight pump, like right here, they would ride that as long as they could, saying it was over, the dollar was coming, the dollar mark for XLM was imminent, and the bull cycle has started again when old Vincenzo was consistent and led you and gave you the factual information that you needed to make an informed decision without hyping it or without trying to pump for the views. We gave you straight to the facts, right? And that's the value and the reason you should support the channel and the reason we're changing the narrative in crypto and we're holding other channels accountable of the major influencers that got 300, 500, a million, 5 million followers and subscribers. We're forcing them to change the way they do business by giving it to you straight, by not trying to be paid by the criminal gangsters to hype stuff, to give you misinformation and to play and prey on your emotions to get you to buy something or to buy something that I'm promoting and getting a kickback on, right? That's the value, and that's the reason you should become members of Jabroni Killers. And so we still see this as what's going to go on. We're still going to have that golden bearish cross. We're probably about 6 days away unless we have a very big fall, right, in a single day. But I think our next major move is going to come to the downside with the move, and we're going to come to 18 cents or thereabout. Then from there, I think we're going to build a quick base, and then our next major move after that, I think there's going to be a very, very strong rally, potentially as high as filling this area right there after we come down to 18 cents, which would be a good accumulating spot if you owned XLM and want to buy more and didn't want to buy it at the high, or you bought it at the high and didn't listen to our advice. This would be a decent spot to start nibbling back in on an accumulation, right? Because I believe there's going to be a short and quick significant rally, and you could pick up some at 18 cents, and I believe it would come back up in a quick rally, and you don't want to misidentify that as something to FOMO into. But then from there, I think there's another leg to the downside at 14.5 cents. And if that happens, you nibble again back there, right? And I think that might be where you have a local capitulation on that next dump down, Where a capitulation, which you really haven't had, say it rallied back up into this 28 cents and then came all the way down and did a 47 to 50% dump in the matter of a day or two, that would be a local capitulation, and then that would be a major area to buy, right? Or at least to accumulate in. If you bought and you were accumulating during the 2-year bear market, 14 cents would be a lovely opportunity for you, if you have an average below that, to accumulate slightly more and not really affect your average price, right? But that's the power of Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, by giving you that, by not trying to just roll with whatever is going to give me the highest clicks or whatever I'm being paid to promote or the point of view to misinform you. I'm giving you straight facts and information that I believe is what's going on and the best available that I can give you at the time, right? And you can see we had our golden bears cross here a long time back at the beginning of March 3rd, March 2nd here, an amp, and I still think there will be some kind of a pump. We're in this falling channel. Eventually it will break out of it, but they can continue to go indefinitely, and I think there will be a big pump, as we've had the golden bears cross about a month ago. The price from its wick high to its wick low was down 75.48%. Even though the market is bearish, an individual coin like this has already sold off well ahead of what everybody else has. And at its particular point where it's at, it's due to have an oversold rally. But does that mean it's going to happen now, which it's trying to break out of it again? As you can see, it's on the top side of that line. Or does it have to come down even farther before he does it, and then it looks like something like that? There will be a big rally, a short rally, probably not sustained rally, but at some point there will be a breakout out of this falling channel, which is a bearish continuation pattern, but a bullish reversal pattern. As the pattern plays itself out to completion, it reverses, and a technical target on the reversal is often where the wedge started, which would be right up in here where you hit your first lower support and your first upper resistance. So that box right there would be within that box, or on the bottom of the box touching it, would be your technical target out of this falling channel, and we'll continue to follow that. And I will continue to bring you the best information on a daily basis to my members as we grow this movement, thanks to you that are the most important part of this channel, because without you, there is no channel. Without you, this information can't be spread. And without you, this information can't be absorbed. And peace and love, the Rex Eyebrow, J.E.